Senator Inhofe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me help Senator Carper out with his statistics. We have looked, and you have appeared before this committee 7 times just during the years that I chaired the committee, so maybe you weren't too far off. You are experienced here. Let me just mention that, first of all, thank the chairman for hosting this hearing on the GAIN Act, important legislation we need to streamline regulatory overreach. Now, regulatory overreach goes far beyond just the subject that we're talking about today. In fact, the fact that we have arguably the best economy that we've had in maybe even in my lifetime. 2 things precipitated that. One was the lower of the reduction, but also regulatory relief. And so this is something that we're very sensitive to. I can remember during the 4 years that you had the Office of Air and Radiation, we addressed this. Let me ask you, Mr. Olmsted, we haven't really talked about job creation, which is one of the things that's supposed to be accomplished with the new source review. And so respond to that, and then also how the GAIN Act reforms help job growth.
So I think the best indication that this would be good for jobs comes from the support from the labor unions. You mentioned, I think, that there were 7 labor unions, and it's mostly the building trades that are supportive of this because they do see the projects that they would be working on that companies don't do because of NSR. And so I think that that in and of itself is pretty good evidence. I think it's very hard to come up with numbers, but because you would reduce the threat of NSR, I think you would certainly unleash a lot of economic activity, making plants more efficient.
Yeah, and Mr. Altieri, I came over to introduce myself to you so I could pronounce your name correctly, and I still haven't done it. But anyway, as you know, the states are the primarily regulator of the new source review program. And your testimony highlighted that since 2008, Kentucky has issued more than 25 new source review permits. But during the time, it appears you've also seen the program used by activists to delay important projects that would improve both environmental quality and modernization of facilities. So, Mr. Altieri, would you agree that it is possible to protect air quality while also streamlining the NSR permitting? And would you agree that the GAIN Act balances those interests?
I think it does, but I think during this conversation it has raised issues relative to who else it would affect. But I think if you have an opportunity to improve energy efficiency at existing coal-fired units, I think you do have the opportunity to reduce pollution without triggering NSR and costly litigation.
That's good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Chairman, I might also add we're passing around something that can be signed by some of the members for an American hero that Senator Carper called to our attention, and I'll help pass that around.
Thanks, Senator Inhofe.